Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome to the RC Retro channel. In this episode, we're going to take another look at my Losi Jrx2, or is it a Jrx Pro? I'm not really 100% sure. Now, what I do know is I got this a few months ago at a very great price. It's the first Losi that I'm featuring on my channel that's part of my collection. And when I got this, I was under the assumption that it was a Jrx Pro, and then as I was going through it on camera, going through all the various parts on it, I started to backtrack a little bit and thought maybe it was a Jrx2 that was converted to a Jrx Pro. And then I started reading through all the comments, and quite a few were very informative. So I'm going to take the shell off and just quickly go through some of the aftermarket parts on here, and then I'm going to share some of the knowledge that was shared with me to help me determine, is it a Jrx2 or is it a Jrx Pro? Alright, so just again, if you didn't see my original video on this a couple months back when I took ownership of it, I kind of unboxed it, I went through everything, that was a little bit more in depth. I'm going to quickly go over everything now, and then, we'll get it out on the track for some fun. All right? So, I'm kind of a box art guy. I've kind of fallen in love with a car because of the way it looks. And I do love the Jrx Pro and the Jrx2 box art color scheme, but this has grown on me. It's a little different. It's very simple, and I do like the colors because it's different from all the other cars I have in my collection. I don't have anything with this nice copper metallic paint on it, so I do like it. A couple stickers will make it pop a little bit more, so we'll add some stickers to that in a second. But for the most part, again, as far as aftermarket on here, we have the RPM front arms, the RPM titanium tie rods in the front and in the rear. The shocks on here are not the ones from the Jrx2 or the Jrx Pro. These are from the later on XXX, which came out, I want to say, in the late 90s. Definitely a better shock. And we have the PureTech racing straps here to hold in your battery. And then for the most part, everything else on here is either from a Jrx2 or a Jrx Pro, which brings me to my next point. So which one is it? I'm going to go based on the Losi enthusiasts who shared their knowledge with me. And in the end, when I share my conclusion with you, and I'm sure most of you already have an idea of where I'm going with this, it really doesn't matter to me, because what matters is that I enjoy the car, I have fun with it, and it's part of my collection. So with that, here's what the purists or the Losi enthusiasts shared with me. Randy says, that is the original bell crank from the Jrx Pro conversion kit that includes the bearings. So apparently the original steering did not come with bearings. Randy then goes on to comment again later on in the video and says, that actually looks like the Jrx2 with the Pro conversion. White LX says, the steering is a Team Losi ball bearing upgrade, as the original did not have ball bearings. So there you go. Daniel D says, the performance upgrade kit came out before the Jrx Pro. The supply chassis included in the upgrade kit and early Jrx-Ts did not come with the servo saver slot. So this does not have the servo saver slot in it. Then he goes on to say, if this was a converted Jrx2, the motor plate would say Jrx2 on it. Aside from the chassis plate, it looks like this started out life as a Jrx Pro rather than a converted Jrx2. So the no slot chassis is a bit of a mystery. P.S. I love the shell paint scheme. Daniel, so do I. It's growing on me. All right, so there you go. Somebody else saying, now this was a Jrx Pro, looked like it, and then the person just added some aftermarket parts to it, or maybe swapped out some parts. Mike C writes, sweet ride. Looks like it was a converted Jrx2. The Pro, at least my Pro, didn't come with the 5-link parts that you have for the side body mounts. Body was dismounted with the front and the rear shock tower pinholes. Looks like you also have a Robertson Racing spur gear adapter, which should let you use standard spurs instead of having to find old Losi spurs. I remember my Pro having Jrx2 engraved motor mount. The Team Losi ones came out after. He then goes on to say the side body mounts were the 5-link suspension attachment points for the Jrx2 and the Jrx-T. It's possible that the owner added these, but they weren't really necessary. I don't remember seeing the Team Losi Performance motor plate until I got my Jrx Pro SE. So he's saying that his Pro came with where it said Jrx2 on the back, and he doesn't remember it saying Team Losi Performance until later on when the SE came out, and that if this was a Pro or if they used a Performance kit, it wouldn't have these right over here. What you see here are for the 5-link suspension. Also, these two pieces that have a like a hex screw on top go through the body. That's what I was having difficulty getting off at the beginning of the video. So this looks like maybe it was like a Jrx2 that had the 5-link suspension at one point, that had the mounts right over here, and the original owner kept these on here just for the body. But Chris S writes, it was the conversion based on what I see, and to me a more rare find. Marco B writes, that looks like the conversion chassis as you have the 5-link standoff still attached to it, and that's what I was saying before. Steering looks like the original Jrx2 arms. The gear cover is designed to use with the Losi Hydra drive. My guess on the triple X shocks, they're on there because the original shocks leaked and the shock collars would often break. In my honest opinion, I kind of believe that this is a Losi Jrx2 that was converted to a Jrx Pro, whether they used a Performance upgrade kit or just over time swapped out the parts. I'm not 100% sure. What I do know is it's pretty awesome. I do like it a lot. It's my first Losi here on the channel, and now, regardless of what it is, it's time to get it out on the track and have some fun with it. So that's about it for me right now. So enjoy the rest of the video and the action footage. Take care, and I'll see you all in my next video.